going on, guys? This is Terrence Ray, and I'm back at you with another weekly stock market update for the week upcoming, starting on May 5th. We have an expected move on the option chain showing on the Tasty Trade platform 116.95, basically 117 bucks. It's a little bit less than it was last week. And what we can see is as the market retraces from this large down move or correction, we can see that the expected move for the week is getting smaller. Now, also we have, let's look at the news for the week. This week we have ISM services, PMI. That's a pretty, that's a market mover. Well, it should on the at 10 o'clock Monday morning, nothing on Tuesday, and then Wednesday is pretty much what we'll get. Whatever we're gonna get this week, our movement is gonna come on Wednesday from the Fed interest rate decision, and then you'll have your Fed press conference afterwards. Now, to the news cycle and a lot of people that pay attention to it, that seems it is big news, but at the same time, I'm gonna show you why it isn't big. It isn't huge news unless the Fed decides to do something that isn't expected. Because right now, what is expected out of the Federal Reserve is that will stay the same. Like they'll stay the same and they won't cut interest rates nor will they raise them during this go round. And I'll show you how that is already being predicted in the market. What I'm pulling up is you see right here, this is the CME FedWatch Tool. And as you can see right here, if you're looking right here, you see it says 96.8%. So that's basically telling us that the there's a 96.8% chance that things will stay the same. The current target rate is 425 to 450. We are and right here where this large high point is on the graph is that we'll stay the same at that same current target rate. We do have a 3%, 3.2% chance that they'll cut by 25 basis points. So as much ado about nothing. Now, if you watch the news, they'll create some type of something around this. If you're looking at the probabilities, you can see that hey, there's nothing to talk about. We already know what they're gonna do, unless they. Now, if he was to come out and do something out of the ordinary, out of what is expected, then you will see the market kind of go crazy. Also, I want to show you the volatility chart. We're gonna look at the VIX. Let's look at the VIX. So ever since let's look at this. This is what we had here. This started. This is the down move that started on February 20th, right? We can see all of this, and then if we come to where's Liberation Day? Here's April 3rd. I think it was the second, wasn't it? Here's the second, and then here's the third, right? Now, let's go back to the VIX. What I said where it started initially was February 20th. Here's February 20th. See this big green candle? Well, vol started to pop. Now let's go to Liberation Day, April 3rd. You see that? So basically, volatility jumped here as the market began to go down. And now we see that volatility is coming down. So that means that vol is coming out of the market or coming out of the VIX just measures the SPX, which contains the 500 largest stocks. So we can see that volatility or fear, what some people may call it a fear gauge, is coming out of the market. So what I'm telling you is everything was priced in and now it's the air is coming out. So now it's getting back to normal. And here we are. So I think we'll either drift higher or sideways. Now, if Jerome Powell comes out and talks and says something, he can talk the market and make it move, or the president can say something this week or tweet something to make it move. But I don't think that it is. We don't have anything. The market will tell you, in my opinion, what's going to happen. So I think this week will be much ado about anything. We'll either continue to drift higher or sideways. Now, in order for us to get a down move, I'm gonna show you some indicators. Now, this is just some stuff. We're below the 50-day SMA. We're below the 20. We're below the 9-day. Just drifting. Oversold on the stochastic. Now, they could throw something out there in the news cycle. You might see a little pop um, up into here, but I don't think we're gonna get that. That's just my opinion. And then I'm getting ready to go to some charts, and then we'll talk about ways that we can potentially make a little money this week. I got a few more. I got, some different stocks that I got added to my weekly watch list, and I took some off. So in this, we'll go ahead and we'll continue to talk about the euro. And basically, with the euro, the story is basically the dollar. So the dollar, you can see beating up, and as the dollar goes down, then the euro was going up. Now I've been talking last week. I talked about like right here. We see we got a little range in the dollar. Let's highlight that right here. Some people, if you're technical analysis, you may call this a Darvis box, a Darvis, however they say it. But here's the range, right? We're just sitting in here. And then you got a hammer candle on Friday. That's what this is right here with this wick. Kind of looks like Thor's hammer. Let's make it big so you guys can see it. Pull it up. See that? Now, what I would like to see, let's see if the dollar breaks this range, takes this air, goes past this area here, then we may get it to go up to right around 101, 101.25, right up in there before we see any resistance. Now, what does that coincide with? Let's go back to the euro. You just flip that upside down. If you see the euro take this low out right here, we could run down to here to right around 1.12. And that's actually, to be honest with you, that's a big move in 4/6E. That's not a small move in that particular market. So it's a couple ways to play it. You can wait on the break and then maybe just short the outright futures, depending on if you have a large enough account, or sell a call spread, anything like that. I do think we'll get that move this week. We'll see what happens. Next on the agenda, Boeing. If you've been watching, I've been talking about Boeing. I've been talking about Boeing ever since it was way back here. And we got there, and it's continuing to go higher. Generally, it's past the 1618. It even came up here to the 2618. That this level right here may be hard for you guys to see. I'm gonna make it darker so you can see it. Now, you see, it hit that level right there, and we got a wick. I would not be surprised if we see it tail off just a little bit, because we are up here. Let's zoom out. Let's go to a weekly 3-year. Now, this is a weekly chart. So you can see this area right here where it's at. It's a lot of consolidation in this area. Now, if it was to break out of this area, I do think Boeing, if it breaks, one, we'll call it 190. If Boeing can break 190, I could see it running all the way to 200, maybe even 205, where the next level is. How you trade that, it's kind of tricky. I don't even know if I would trade it as much as, to be honest with you, just maybe holding the stock. Just depends on what you want to do. I'm not in it, just bringing it up, showing, some charts and showing how I do think that it can continue to go higher. Like I said, maybe it pull off a couple days, go sideways, and then continue to go up. Let's take a look at XLE. XLE, which is the energy sector, the ETF for the energy sector. I had this pattern drawn here. Generally, what happens is when you get price action to break a pattern and it consolidates, sometimes it'll come, especially when you got a gap, it'll come right back in here and retest this trend line right here, right? I could see it running right through it. See that? And I got the range highlighted. See this box? Got a little box right here. already above the 9-day, above the 20. You get a break out of this box, and then it run all the way up to right here where the 50, this blue line is, and fill this gap. So I could see that happening, right? I would like to see it break the box first. MicroStrategy, I've been talking about MicroStrategy as a way to play Bitcoin. It's just continuing to run. If you go back and watch the videos from last weekend, let's see, this was Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So right here is where I was at when I did last weekend's video at 368. Now we're at 394. And I was talking about it going higher last week. Now this week, I would, like I said, markets don't go straight up or straight down. You generally will get something, a little consolidation, or maybe even a little pullback into here. But the thing about MicroStrategy is when it moves, kind of like Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes. I do think it goes higher, right? Because Bitcoin is going higher. So MicroStrategy, which I don't understand the business personally, I just think they just buy Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is going higher, I don't see how MicroStrategy doesn't go higher. Tesla. Tesla got a little range, right? It was a range in here. You can see I got levels. I've been talking about Tesla going higher. You can see it went sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this week we just got it sitting right here, going sideways. I do think it breaks higher out of this range. And I got the next 320 is where I think ultimately it'll end up getting to before, the next whatever happens. So you can see it right here. Now, let's look at Honeywell. I'm actually in Honey. I bought this call like on Friday. See it gapped up and we right here. I basically got Honeywell going to 220. I think I got an alarm alert. I got an alert at 219.50. Once it hits there, then I start looking at trying to exit. I think we get a break here and goes up to this next level up here. 220. Could go to 221. Close this gap. But I'll be looking to close. I bought the 220 call option out 47 days. I generally don't buy calls and I don't recommend it. I like the setup. It popped up on the scan. I wanted to trade it, and the IV rank wasn't good enough to sell anything, and it was already running. So I said, I just buy a call. I will not hold this long and let this bleed out. If it looks like I'm going to be wrong, I see any type of pullback in here, I'll cut it and take the small loss. But I am in this call, as you can see. Bought it right here. Bought it on Friday. Let's see what we get. Now I am not advising anybody to follow me into that trade. I just showing you that I do got a little skin in the game. We had the little range here, gap up here, sat sideways right here on the 100. You can see it even wicked here, right? So once I see that, then this acted as support. At this point, I'm just looking to see get higher and get up into here. NVIDIA. Look at NVIDIA. I got levels on the video right here holding at the 61.8. Next level up is 120. I do think we get that move. I don't know when, don't know how, but I do think we get the 120 on the video. So we'll see what we get this week. But you can see I got my Fib levels. I got my bull flag. I got my falling 3, like my second favorite candlestick pattern behind the Harami. 1, 2, 3. Then boom, gap up. Take the high out. Now we looking to add on, looking at levels. I may trade NVIDIA this week. We will see. When is earnings? Earnings is after the bell on May 28th. So I got 24 days. I don't know if I want to trade it through earnings, but we'll see. This is something, this is a stop. I like this setup. Meta, I love Meta setup. We got the up move here, pull back, boom, gap higher. You can see the price action came down to the 618, acted as support, and we hit 100. Next level up is the 1618, right around, we'll call it 650. Don't know if it goes straight there. Meta is moving. When it moves, it moves. The expected move for this week is what? $21.64. Where would that put you? I don't know, right up here, right around 620, somewhere up in here. It's possible for it to get every bit of that this week. It's real, like I said, it's really moving. The IV rank is low, so it doesn't have a lot of vol priced into the action. I mean, to the options. Let's take a look at now. This stock just popped up. I seen this before I was getting ready to do the video. AMAT, Applied Materials. Now we can see. I'm gonna hide all the indicators. Let's hide everything. You can see it just trending down, almost like in a channel, bouncing, 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 and then lower. But then when you get down around this area, we get a low, we get a little high, then we get a higher low, and then it takes out this high. Now, once I see that, now I'm starting to look and find me some levels higher. It's already hit the first level. Next level is right around here. See the resistance right here at the 100 level that'll put us at right about 164, 165-ish, right around that area. That's about $9 or $10 away. I like that. I like that play. I'll be this week, like the stocks that on the list to watch this week for me, the top three would be Honeywell, Meta, AMAT, and then I got one more that I added. Now, this is more like a penny stock. It's kind of like a China play. And I generally don't do penny stocks, but if the chart looks right and it's liquid, then, you know, who am I to say no? It's a cheapie. IQ. This is only $1.95. I think it closed at on Friday. Right now, I didn't know this was a Chinese stock. It just popped up on this on a little scan that I use. Look, I like the setup. This setup right here with this triangle, like you see it broke down. It's been getting killed. So some may say, well, it's the reason why it's getting killed. Yeah, I don't care. I want to see if I can make a few bucks out of it. Maybe it ain't gonna cost you. It won't cost me a whole lot to do this. Anybody, because it's only $1.95. If I'm right, and it goes through and hits all these levels. Now, obviously, this stock would benefit from the negotiations between the United States and China because it is a Chinese stock. I didn't even know that when it popped up on the scanner. You go to research and news, you'll see about IQ. You'll see it's a China-based company principally engaged in the provision of online entertainment services. And so you see they are talking about, I think I seen last week about delisting Chinese stocks, possibly. I seen that run through the news wire. I don't know if that gets done. I actually hope it don't. And one of the reasons why I say I hope it don't, you want as many stocks. One of the things I think, and this is just my opinion, that one of the great things that doesn't get talked about in news, in the media, whenever they talk about the trade war between the United States and China, is our stock market, our markets, period, our futures markets, our forex markets, like that you have access to in our banks by investing in the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, because we have you know, a free market as compared to some other markets. You can put money in our markets and put them to use. You can invest in companies in the United States. And if we start limiting companies from being able to take part in our markets, I think that will take away some of the lure or the advantages that we have. You the stock market here is unlike any other market in any other country. So a lot of companies want to be listed in our markets. So that's a big advantage that the United States has. So with that being said, here we got the low, went sideways, and here we go. We got a break to the upside, a pullback, and then a gap higher. And here we are sitting at that 618. I do think that we'll get a breakthrough here, and it'll come through this little pattern right here, this little triangle. Now the thing about it is, if we don't if we don't get the news, let's say we don't get the news of if they do delist Chinese stocks, then of course this will break down. Good thing is it's only $1.95. So if you're wrong, you lose what? I will put my stop, to be honest with you, down here at below 160, maybe even 155. So what, you lose $40 if you buy 100 shares, and then I'd hold it. You can hold it and see if you're right over time, get up to around 330. You could do something like that. Or I know some people that trade cheap stocks like this, the guys who really into penny stocks, they'll do something like 1,000 shares. And that's on you. This is one of them plays where you put something on it, and if you lose a little money, it ain't no big deal. If you make some, okay, I made a little bread. Be careful with your sizing. It's $1.95 for a reason. Now, I don't. You say, well, how would a penny stock come up on my scans? I generally don't scan for them. This has weekly options. And so I look for weekly options when I am looking for stuff to trade, and it does have weeklies. So I'm scanning inside of, like, I'm scanning stocks that have weeklies. And so it popped up. And that's where we are. 40-day out expected move, let's call it 47. Let's say for June 20th, the June cycle, it got like a 32 cent expected move. It's $2 on for 40 days. So that $2 will put you where? Right around 3.95, $4. That's at the top of this range right here. So it's possible. But so all in all this week, guys, circling back, like I said, I do want to go over the monthly chart real quick before I wrap this up. I very rarely look at monthly charts. But if you guys looking at this, look at this monthly chart. That look crazy. Look at that wick for the monthly. That says to me, right, that we hit a support level, that's this blue box right here. Now, if I was to draw this all the way across, look where it puts you at. The market came right here. Now, this is a monthly chart. See right here where the high, and then right here where it broke down, you can see we got right there, and it acted as support. Don't tell me that this stuff don't that technical analysis don't matter, because you can see this stuff. It came right, like it. You can see here, turn, went right here, broke through. It came back right to that level. Now let's see what we do. You can see the mark, and for the month of May, it just fell all the way back, and here we are. Excuse me, the month of April. And here we are in May. I do think, just based off of this, think of this as like yeah, I would call this a hammer candle, hammer candlestick. You want a little bit fatter head, but yeah, that's a hammer candlestick pattern, right? And so when you get that candlestick, it's like beating the market up. So I expect this month for us to either, maybe stay somewhere right around here in range, like that, and this for the month. So we may end up like right around in this area, right? With that being said, I expect us to drift a little higher this week or sideways. If you do get a little down move, I don't expect a big one. It's possible. Go up the first couple of few days and then pull back into here. But we'll see. We'll monitor it. That being said, guys, look, I don't sell courses or anything like that. Hit the like button, subscribe. I do got a cash app down in the notes. If you want to throw something to me, I ain't gonna turn it down. I'll take it. Um, and also I use Tasty Trade for a lot of the majority of everything I do it on Tasty Trade. Um, and so there is a link in the show notes if you want to sign up with them. I think they're one of the best brokerages out there, and I love the trading platform. I do get something, like if you sign up, put some money in there, they'll throw me something as well. And with that being said, guys, I am out. Peace.